Hello and welcome to the second episode of the Sonic Hosts Coast to Coast podcast. This is one of your co-hosts, Malzilla. As always, is my other co-host, Radri. Say hi, Radri.
Hi. How you
And
doing?
we're here, we're back, and we'd like to thank you for coming back. First episode did really well for our expectations, and we've got a lot of good feedback, and we're happy that you enjoyed it, and we continue to hope put out more. So, today's episode, we're going to be talking about Sonic X Shadow Generations, as well as Sonic Generations. But before we get into that, there's some, you know, housekeeping we need to do. We do have a Discord and a Twitter. So if you want to get on the X, Twitter, and follow Sonic Coast
Shut
Coast
up.
to Coast podcast.
Get on the X.
Get on the X. That's what the X
Shut
in
up.
Sonic X Shadow Generation
Yeah.
stand for. Yeah.
God damn it.
F you,
Fuck
Elon
you,
Musk.
Elon. Anyway, go on.
Fuck you, Elon. Exactly. Yeah, Ivo's better. Anywho, so we have that. We have a Discord channel. We're also up on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Apple iTunes, or what is it, Radri?
I think it's just Apple Podcasts now.
Apple Podcasts, as well as the YouTube. So we're around. We're getting
No,
there. We're
it's
happening.
X Podcast now.
X Podcast. We're podcasting around at the speed of sound. We're going places. And now that that's out of the way, before we dive into, the video game, because Sonic is a video game franchise, though I would make a solid argument that it's kind of, as a multimedia franchise, has kind of, surpassed its video game origins. But before we get to that, we do want to talk about a couple of things that have kind of come up in the comics that both Roger and I feel very strongly about.
Yeah,
So the first one...
Go on.
Oh, do you want to
If you
go?
want to set it up, that's fine.
I'll set it up.
You're
So,
leading. You're leading.
I'm leading it. So first one is actually a little bit of old news that has kind of randomly taken new life. That's one of the crazy things about social media. You post something for something that came out 6 months ago, and suddenly it brings whole new life into it. So as you probably all know, IDW has been doing these seasonal specials for Sonic, and the spring one comes out next week at the time of this recording. We'll talk a little bit about that in a few minutes, but the previous one, which is the winter special, there's now a little bit of a controversy because the artist, and their name escapes me, so please forgive me if you want to look that up, Radri, that'd be great. They posted on Twitter, the X, of the original pitch for the cover. And there was a certain character that they had to switch out. For in the original, or second original version, Amy was exchanging gifts and a hug from everyone's favorite jungle badger, Styx. But the one that was actually sent to the printers, they swapped Styx out for Blaze. So, Styx erasure. What the hell, Sega? What the hell? She's just like us for real.
We're being erased? They're just like us for... What do you mean by that?
Well, it's like she's just like us, We're in our little caves with our little, making all the connections, the conspiracy, She's beloved by the fandom, and then they take her off the cover.
Okay.
What the hell?
Why? Do you feel
Styx
like
erasure.
do you ever feel like you're being erased by Sega?
Sometimes.
Sometimes?
I could make a whole comment about how when they re-released Sad AM, they did a shitty job
Oh, you
compared
mean
to
on DVD?
yeah, they did those amazing art for, Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog
Yeah.
with and then, but that's another topic for another time.
It is. Okay, all right.
Well, Rad, you felt strongly about this. What are your thoughts
Oh,
about the
no.
Styx
So
erasure?
I looked up the artist while you were presenting.
Pontificating.
But yeah, it's Minho Kim, Korean
Minho Kim.
Korean artist, or who lives in San Jose, California. Forgive me if I get any of these facts wrong. Please feel free to correct me. I'm not above anybody when it comes to art or creating things in general. But yeah, no, they posted their early line art and their line work. Did they actually go through in the comments? Did you read into the comments about why Styx was removed?
No, but I kind of figure it's just like Sega saying, "Hey, we don't want to put her in." They did something similar like back in the like the Metal Virus Saga. Like apparently like Marine was supposed to show up when Sonic had like amnesia and was kind of in his like debonair phase as Mr. Needle Mouse. Like basically Ian kind of, wrote in like, "Oh yeah, he spoke to Marine, but apparently she was actually supposed to show up, but then they said, nah, like acts her
Do you
appearance."
think Sega just kind of like looks at all these characters like as dollar signs or
Well,
like as
absolutely. I
money
mean, that's
signs?
kind of
Well, you got to get Sonic in there. Like, who's this? I surfed just for a minute. I'm sorry, Scott. Like, excuse me. I got to get used to calling you Mozilla or Malzilla. What am I calling you?
Badzilla.
Yeah.
Mal is Spanish for bad,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
I'm a
Es muy mal.
Badzilla.
Muy mal.
Muy mal, muy bad.
Okay.
I'm bad.
So, yeah, no, I imagine Sega just looks at all these characters as dollar sign. And just a minute ago, I thought you said Dix the Badger. It'd be pretty funny. Like that. If Richard the Badger.
Yeah, there was Rally for Sally, there was Hard for Shard, and there was Dicks Out for Sticks.
There you go.
Twitter.
That's gonna be the title. Dicks out for sticks. We're getting so much trouble.
No, we have a better one coming up. I'm sitting on one.
All right,
We're gonna
okay.
talk
I don't
about
know.
that later.
Dicks for sticks is pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay. But no. Yes. For anyone who's just stumbling upon this podcast, you see, the only thing I worry about new listeners, finding this podcast is it's like these Sonic guys, they're so far up their ass. They only talk about things that they see that's up their ass. Do you know what I mean? So, I mean, I want to be able to make sure that this is accessible for everyone. Like, let's say your mom or your dad, because they like our profane language and our really gross, analogies and everything. I hope you enjoy them. Please sure to leave a comment. Tell us about how much you enjoy them. But anyway, the thing is that, what is it? Lose my train of thought here. No,
Sticks Erasure.
Styx Erasure. No, Styx the Badger is a character from Sonic Boom. I'm pretty sure just Sonic Boom. I'm not sure if it was from Sonic.
Originally,
Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric. Yeah.
The Sonic Boom mini franchise, but they've been referenced. Obviously, one of the big things in Frontiers was Amy saying she was going to go hang out with Styx, which means that there is some Styx out there in the main Sonic 616 universe.
Right. Yeah, well, that came up later for Sonic Frontiers. For anyone just listening, Sonic Frontiers is a game that one of the most recent AAA games of Sonic that came out. But yeah, so Styx the Badger, most well known for Sonic Boom, the video game Rise of Lyric, and what's the other one? There's Rise of Lyric and
Nice.
What's that?
Fire and Ice.
Fire and Ice.
It was Sonic Boom, Fire and Ice.
And she's only really appeared in those two.
Well, in the TV show mainly.
And I think she made some appearances. Yeah, she made some appearances in Archie, or was it only the Sonic Boom comic?
In the Sonic Boom comic, but she also showed up in like that post Super Genesis wave.
Oh, I remember that
crossover. Yeah,
Right.
so she showed up in the main continuity, but she pretty much was exclusive to Boom. That Boom's kind of been her, her kingdom.
Okay, so she wasn't in the main one with like Sally and the Freedom Fighters at that time.
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. So just to establish something. Yeah, for some reason, yeah, I'm pretty sure if I had to bet good money on why Sega removed Styx, it's all about money. It's all about like, well, nobody knows who this Styx character is because it's a little old, and maybe because I'm looking at the final product here, right? I'm seeing a lot of the Murder of the Sonic the Hedgehog characters, and maybe they wanted something more current because, I imagine probably, given what I listened to on the Bumblecast, is Sega's very hyper concerned about the past, and so I don't know why. I mean, I guess for obvious reasons, because the Penders lawsuit and maybe people making fun of them. I don't know. I mean, maybe that's a thing. I imagine that's probably why they got rid of Styx. That's my theory. I don't know.
Okay.
What is your what was going through your brain cells when you saw
What's going through my brain cells is kind of like what I mentioned earlier, is that they probably, it was a situation like they've done in a couple times where it's like they wanted to introduce a character, but they said you can introduce them later. And Styx seems to be kind of one of those characters, at least Ian has said he'd like to bring in, just because really out of the main game cast, and even the IDW comic casts, or even the old Archie, Sat AM, no one's really been like Styx, because Styx is kind of that kooky conspiracy theorist character and kind of insane, but so insane that she's kind of actually more aware of what's going on than others. So again, kind of in that, oddball, crazy humor. And, I could see Sega just kind of like anything, if they want to like debut them, they probably want to like make it like an actual thing. Like, oh yeah, we're bringing back Styx, as opposed to just like, oh yeah, here she is on a cover. So it's probably not as nefarious as we made it out to be, but it's kind of, it is what it is. Now, speaking of, as I mentioned earlier, once again, there's another shenanigans of another seasonal special. Next week, again, at the time of this recording, we're recording this on the 7th of June. So June 12th or 12th.
June 8th, where I'm at.
Yeah, or whatever. Is the spring special. Now, mind you, there's only like 2 weeks of spring left. I mean, it's the middle of June, for crying out loud. And IDW.
Summer starts June 20th. So
yeah,
according to the calendars.
Better late than never. And apparently Sonic Tales are showing up at this big flower festival. The Chaotix are there. Another crocodile, I can only assume is Vector's cousin, but like kind of this crazy amber shade with piercings. So, the cooler Vector is there. But there's another character there that has kind of captured the fandom's delights. For it appears that Uncle Chuck may be back. Now, mind you, we only see like a side profile, but clearly it's an elder hedgehog with a mustache. And we always remember the OG elder hedgehog with a mustache, Uncle Chuck. Sonic's best dad.
Yeah, because the fandom is just gonna point that out, because like if he's got a mustache and it's one of those mustache twirly mustaches.
If he's old, light blue, wears glasses, and has a mustache, it's Uncle Chuck.
Yeah.
This character may actually be a reference to a character that kind of a background hedgehog who looked kind of like that from back in the day around the imposter syndrome. It was the one shot of the girls went camping, and then there was a guy complaining. He looks like, why aren't you letting us out? There's a fire. So, I mean, it's probably not Uncle Chuck. We'd all love it to be Uncle Chuck. Uncle Chuck was cool. I think Sonic characters should have parents other than Cream. Family relations are not that big of a deal. But they can add a lot of fun stuff to it. As long as they're not, the voyeuristic grandpas of Knuckles.
Yeah, the Knuckles series and the Archie got a little over its head, a little up its own ass. Took itself
tried to be Game of Thrones.
It took itself a little too damn seriously, but yes, you're right. Like Game of Thrones.
And the books, the show, not the books. The books are amazing. But anywho, so that's kind of what's been going on recently in the comics. We thought it was kind of fun to share. Anything else you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, one thing I kind of wanted to add to this whole Uncle Chuck in the background thing. This isn't the first time this has happened. Like, I don't know if you're going to lead into this for your next topic, but it's like, what is it? There was another character that showed up with the Kamen Rider thing. What's that plot called in the IDW series?
The Riders,
The
the
Riders
Phantom
arc?
Rider.
The Phantom Rider
Uh,
arc.
yes. Okay, now I know who you're going to talk about. Of course.
Yeah.
Yes, there was a faint sketch in the background of the most recent issue of the regular series that, due to somewhat looks from a distance and a very blue and white color scheme, to which I have to say, has our rallying been successful? Has Sally made her return
I don't think so.
in the background? Obviously, probably not, because I know if Sega gave the okay to bring her back, Ian and Evan would probably have a massive arc planned out, because again, they know how much she means to a lot of the fans. So, but it would also just be hilarious that, like, oh yeah, that's her. She's just in the background, and she's got a bit of a makeover. The character looks kind of cool. And, it's got.
Yeah, go on.
And plus, she has that white and blue color scheme that I've always thought that's always kind of been Sally's thing. I know she had the little black, sports outfit in the post boot, but it's kind of weird. I've never thought of black as one of Sally's colors.
Yeah.
That's just me.
A bunch of people on Twitter were sounding off like, whoa, 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 who's that? Right? Because, obviously, whenever these, comics touch the internet, people are going to, like, pull out their magnifying glasses and, like, magnify everything to, like, what is it, 5,000 or something, right?
Enhance.
To, like,
enhance.
To enhance and pick up all the megapixels that are, like, existing in every frame, right? To see, like, what encryption is it? How did it come? What hands touched it? And of course, yeah. And they, as you said, they enhanced, like they're in Blade Runner, and of course they found this character. We were like, whoa, 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 is this Sally? Is that her? Right? And I think somebody sounded off on Twitter that they said, nah, it's a Puyo Puyo character. Like, y'all crazy. I'm trying to look up the Puyo Puyo character, but like, it looks like a character that's from Yokai Watch, a game that's like 8 years old or more. Maybe I'm looking at this wrong. You remember Yokai Watch?
I don't.
Yeah, right? No, it was huge in Japan. Like, everybody had Yokai Watch. It's like if I remember I had a bunch of students at this time. It's like if I mentioned the word Yokai Watch, like their eyes lit up. Like I told them like they're getting, chocolate for the rest of the year or something. It was huge. It was big. But yeah.
It was a big deal.
It was a big deal. I'm surprised because I guess supposedly they tried, this is a bit of a tangent, but they did try to sell Yokai Watch in America, and they actually like made their third, because this is basically like a Pokemon ripoff, because that's the way everybody looked at it. But the problem is here's something. So people listening, you could learn something about Japanese culture. So in Japan, puns are very, they're not considered in America. Puns are considered kind of low forms of entertainment, right? It's kind of like considered, they're like low hanging fruit jokes, right? People kind of groan when they hear a pun, whereas like in Japan, puns are actually considered to be funny. People enjoy puns.
Puns are a high art form in Japan.
Yes. Okay, you know about this. Yeah, they're very high.
I am well versed in pun culture.
Are you? Okay, I guess I could ask you more about this later, but basically, yeah, the whole thing was is that they tried to do the same thing in America, but it didn't fly, and I think it's for that reason, because puns are considered to be
low forms of humor.
Yeah.
Grown
anyway, I can't
eyebrow.
find the name of this character. Chat, if you can, or chat, or internet, or people who have hands and ears and eyes and can tell me who this character is, let me know, because I'm pretty sure it's probably a nod to that one, and it's not Sally. But obviously, maybe they took Sally's attributes, or to use the attributes enough to like confuse Sega, because I imagine the thinking probably is okay. So this is what I wanted to say about this topic was I imagine a lot of it is that it's just the creators, they probably love Sally Acorn, they like Chuck, they like all these older, machinations of these old characters, but Sega's got their big band hammer, but they're not exactly the most observant. Or they're really lax. I'm not 100% sure, but I will say that I would probably say it's a safe bet that the people who make these characters, they probably try to sneak it in. Similar to how, I don't know if you remember the comic Sonic Learns to Drive. Do you remember that one?
I do remember that.
The artist for that one, correct me if I'm wrong in this pronunciation. I've never actually seen his name pronounced anywhere live, but like Mauro Fonseca, the artist who did the illustrations for that one, he put in Boomy the Turtle, and he even claimed on Twitter that he did not have permission to put in Boomy the Turtle, because Boomy the Turtle is a character made by Craig Stitt when he worked for STI. For people out there who don't know what STI is, and no, it's not sexually transmitted disease. It was Sega Technical Institute at the time. This is before we started calling STIs STIs. Sega Technical Institute. Yeah, he created this character. He made another character named Segapede, which I don't know, Sega wasn't too hot on for some reason. Or I did a show. I'm gonna plug my other show, my 2-year-old show. We interviewed Craig
Plug
Stitt.
away.
Yeah, my show, Sonic Historian, we interviewed Craig Stitt, and he told us all about that. He's a fascinating guy. He created Spyro the Dragon. He's great. I can only praise him, really. I mean, anyway, listen to the episode. It's awesome. So yeah, pretty much, Maruo, he put in a bunch of characters. I think it was more than just Boomy. Because he was a turtle, because he was supposed to be the sidekick. I think it's for Sonic. I could.
Oh, that was like the proto Tails before we got
yes,
Tails.
That was the proto Tails. Yes.
Yeah, I've seen that artwork. Yeah. He's kind of a badass looking guy. It's kind of like, whoa.
Yeah, I think probably the reason why he got rejected was because he looked too much like a turtle from the Mario universe. I think, but
Koopa.
I think so.
He was
too
turtly enough for the Sonic Club.
I think so.
At least he's not Tommy Turtle.
That old ass movie. What was it? Master of Disguise. Man, that's an old ass reference. Okay. Anyway. Yes. So I'm just saying that obviously Sega's not. They're like, I don't know. Like, what's one of those video games? Or like where the object of the game is to like sneak past the sleeping giant. I imagine there's probably a lot of people who work within Sonic that are just saying, well, why don't we sneak past the sleeping giant and see what we could sneak in? And I'm pretty sure that's what happened.
Sneak it past the sensors. Gotcha.
I'm pretty sure this is what happened because, from what I understand, from what I've learned from all the people who've worked at Sega, Sega's favorite word is no. They love saying no to a lot of things. And whenever they say yes, it's always a surprise. So.
Okay.
That's my spiel on this. So I imagine, I don't know, they recognize, they know who Sally Acorn is. They know who that is. They know who some of these characters are. But they're obviously, I think they're very busy. And they can't be fucked, with, sorry, Sega. But they can't be fucked with, knowing what's what and who's what and what is what and more.
Okay. That's fair. And I would also say the times are a-changing. But that's a topic for a different discussion.
Oh, yeah.
But I think we've wrapped up our IDW chit-chat for the moment, correct?
I could go on, but no, let's continue. We got bigger fish to fry.
We got bigger fish to fry, better hedgehogs to, roll around with. So, as we mentioned earlier in the episode, the main topic of this episode will be, we're going to be talking about Sonic X Shadows Generations. I just replayed it again this last weekend. It's a short game. The original, it's a fun. It's some would say it's probably been the best Sonic game for the last decade. Not counting Mania, but Mania was pretty much done by another studio, not Sega. But
I love Mania.
in many ways, Mania is kind of like Generations in that I always say Sonic Mania is the remix album of Best of Sonic,
Oh yeah.
while Generations is pretty much the straight up Sonic's greatest hits, and it's hard to fuck that up because it is literally the greatest hits. It's 9 levels. It's Green Hills, Chemical Plant, Sky Sanctuary, Speed Highway, City Escape, Seaside Hill, Crisis City, Rooftop Run, and Planet Wisp. You get one version for modern Sonic, one version for classic. My personal favorites, City Escape. Somehow they arguably turned one of the best intro levels into something even better. So hats off to them. Their modern take for Sky Sanctuary was also pretty good too, and for Speed Highway. That being said, I'm not a huge fan of Planet Wisp. Not a huge fan of Sonic Colors in general.
Really?
But I think there are certain levels that I would have done better, like Starlight Carnival or Aquarium Planet or whatever that, Water Planet was with the samurai. That would have been cooler, in my opinion. And also, I'm not a huge fan of Seaside Island, Sleeside Palace from Sonic Heroes. I think there are some better levels, like I think either since they don't really have a casino level in Generations, say for the the pinball table mini game, they could have gone, Casino Park, Bingo Highway, or I think Egg Fleet would have been really cool because I always just like that level, hopping around from battleship to battleship to taking them out. That would have been fun. But yeah. So the good news is, if they ever do a Sonic Generations 2, they do have a lot of levels to pull from. That being said, a lot of the runner-ups ended up on the DS version. So, for example, the DS version is Green Hill, Casino Night, Mushroom Hill, I believe Emerald Coast, Radical Highway, Ocean Park from Sonic Rush, and Tropical Resort from Colors. So it's even shorter, and they swapped some things out. But again, this is a 13-year-old game. Most of you've probably played it. It's solid. It's good fun. But let's talk about what's coming. Oh,
yeah, go on. Let's talk about.
No. Do you have any thoughts?
I'm the toe stepper here. We'll eventually figure this out, so we don't have to have what is it? Sonic Host, Coast to Host, Greatest Hits. Of us just interrupting each other. No, you go ahead. No, you go ahead. We'll just have one whole episode just being that. Anyway,
I blame modern telecoms. They basically have us speak over each other anyway.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Were you gonna dive into the next topic, or can I chime in?
I just want, chime in, please.
Okay, yeah. Just let people know I have not played Sonic Generations. I kind of feel like, I don't know if you've ever seen that meme of here I am explaining something visual you can't see. Kind of feel like that meme of Steve Buscemi or Buscemi or whatever his name is, and where he's wearing his hat backwards and has a skateboard and hey there,
how do you do,
kids.
fellow kids?
How do you do, fellow kids? That's how I kind of feel playing these Sonic games. I mean, because I haven't touched Colors, I didn't touch Adventure, and I gotta regress here and see what was it like being a kid in the early 2000s or now even today? What is it like? Because this brand, I mean, I imagine Sega sort of wants to stay within the early teen era of it, or I don't know, or at least with Frontiers, it kind of seems like they're kind of pushing for a more mature side, I think. I don't know. But yes, I have not played Generations. I eventually do want to get to it. I got severely burned out playing Shadow the Hedgehog. I did enjoy the game, but I don't know. I'm an adult, unfortunately, and I have just trying to fit in what is it? How long did it take you to finish this game, Mazala? How did it take? How long did it take? You might be calling you Mozilla.
You can, just don't
So-
call me late for dinner.
it sounds very Jewish. Mozilla,
I'm
what
not
are you
Jewish.
doing? Yeah, okay.
not Wade Whipple.
Mozilla.
Malzilla. We could say it. Malzilla. Yeah, it's shit. What were you saying before?
No,
we-
I'm asking you, like, how long is Generations? So if I'm playing
If
this
you
game...
don't die, it will take, I think, if you just do the main story, at most 2 hours.
Most 2
It's
hours.
short.
Oh, that's short.
It's
okay.
It's like
I guess you could always just type in Google, how to beat Sonic Generations. You could do that too.
like
You could beat off Sonic Generations.
there's barely any story. There's like 4 cutscenes. They're mostly modern Sonic talking to Tails in classic Sonic classic Tails, because classic Sonic doesn't speak. So again, it's a very short game. Like, it is, a perfect game if you got a rainy day. You just like, oh, I need to kill like 2-3 hours. I'm gonna play Sonic Generations. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So it's a pretty short game. I guess if anybody's sort of like, they want to play something, because that seems to be the thing nowadays. I mean, all these Sonic games are pretty short.
Well, if there is something interesting, because this franchise has such a weird history, fascinating. Generation, since it came out in 2011, was basically the beginning of kind of the meta era Pontac and Graph, where the early aughts can be summarized as these bombastic rock operas. And I think by the end, especially by 2008, that's when you start getting those, like, all of Sonic's friends are losers. We don't want to play them, blah, blah, blah. So that's why those kind of games just focused on Sonic and Tails. Because it's like, who doesn't like Sonic and Tails? So, it was a change in dichotomy of the franchise from, these big, crazy stories to kind of more like, haha, lighthearted adventures that are done in an hour.
It's interesting. I typed in Pontac and Graph in Google, and the first thing that comes up is, why is Sonic's character... Oh, no. Excuse me. I got to read this in a better way. I biffed it. Why Sonic's character is amazing, and how it was ruined by the PJ Show. Do you think it was ruined?
Go.
Was it ruined? Malzilla, tell me.
No comment.
Okay. All right. Pontac and Gaff, they're the people who did, or Graffer, forgive me. They're the people who did Happy Tree Friends. Is that right?
I never saw the show, so yeah, maybe.
Well, if you love gore and like cute animals getting mutilated, then it's cool. I mean, I always thought it was too mean-spirited. I didn't like that. I mean, I love gore. Don't get me wrong. I like horror movies. I like scary things, but I don't need to see cute animals getting killed. I don't need to see this. Like, this is like for people who are insane. I'm sorry if you like this show, but I'm pretty sure it's Pontac and Graph. But anyway, continue. You had something else to say.
Well, no, that's pretty much
here.
That pretty much sums up the original.
Yes,
OG
I was right.
generation.
He did write Happy Tree Friends. Okay, and
then there we go.
Okay.
But then, of course, before it was deemed the Year of Shadow, in January, which was kind of a weird time to announce anything, they did the announcement that they were going to do a remaster of Sonic Generation for modern consoles, but this was going to come with a twist. It was now officially named Sonic Shadow, or Sonic X Shadow Generations. Kind of odd that we've had X, in 2 titles, Godzilla and X Kong, The New Empire, Sonic X Shadow Generations, though apparently like Hunter x Hunter as opposed to Hunter x Hunter.
People like that letter, or they love the letter X for some reason.
X gonna give it to you, and we've now been demonetized.
No,
but anywho, so obviously that came out and announced in 2021, or not January 2024. Words. I knew some people were super excited. I had a couple friends who were a little disappointed. They had really fun memories of Generations, and they thought, well, why are they remaking this? It's a perfect game. And I'm like, they're not wrong. It's not the game I would do a remake remaster of. I think if I was Sega, I would have done a HD remakes of the adventure games or Sonic Unleashed. I mean, I'd almost go full, Final Fantasy VII remake remaster on Sonic 06, but that's just me. But Generations was kind of not really on said list, but the Shadow component was, at least to me, intriguing. They didn't show us a whole lot, but they showed us enough to kind of wet our whistle. We saw some clips of a, space station arc, space colony arc, kind of a final chase, final rush level. And then the appearance of Black Doom's Doom's Eye, which then they revealed that, yes, Black Doom is back. R.I.P. Sean Schemmel's vocal cords from, back in the day. And then we see,
Welcome back,
Shadow...
Dr. Claw.
Welcome back, Dr. Claw. And then we see Shadow destroying some gun Eggman robots in a urban setting, which, gives off Westopolis vibes from Shadow 05. And then it kind of ends with a new kind of take on the Biolizard fight from SA2, which, let me tell you, when I did my last replay of SA2, that phase of Shadow versus the Biolizard is a lot harder than I remembered. It kind of kicked my butt a few times.
It is a bit difficult, yeah. Go on.
Yeah, it's like, in theory, like I've beaten him so many times. It's like you just grind up the cable, you hit him in the back, and then you float around. But it's trickier than. I blame that music. It's very hypnotic.
Mm-hmm.
It lulls you into a false sense of security. So, Roger, what were your initial thoughts when they announced this remake remaster?
Shadow Sonic Shadow, what the fuck was it called? Shadow Sonic X. I can't even say it.
XSG, Sonic X Shadow
XSG?
Generations.
Sounds like some trade show.
South by Southwest.
Yeah. What were my impressions? Cool.
Like, what were your thoughts?
What was going through my brain?
What was going through your brain cells?
They want that shadow money. Maybe it's just my age. Maybe I'm just like, I'm at 36 and I'm like, money. How do you make money? Where's the money? How do you find more money? How do you get that other money? I mean, maybe that's just my problem. But no, in all seriousness, besides the word money, besides me being Mr. Krabs from SpongeBob, I can really tell that they're kind of banking on they're trying to sell while the iron is hot with the movie coming out. I mean, obviously that's pretty smart because, I mean, did we say this?
Synergy.
This is was it Source Amnesia? Were we saying this in the last episode, or were we saying this in private? I can't remember. But like, Shadow is like the second most popular character in Sonic.
That was it was the last episode, because that was a line from the Sonic Boom cartoon when Shadow first shows up to Eggman's base, and all the other Boom villains are like, "Who is this guy?" And Eggman says, "That's Shadow the Hedgehog. He's only the second most popular character in the canon."
Yeah, so obviously, they want to sort of bank on that. And so one of the things I actually kind of wanted to talk about, which is pretty funny, right? Anybody who's played Shadow the Hedgehog, have you played it? Malzilla,
oh, yeah.
Have you played it? Okay.
I did play it. It was a long time ago. It has issues. I have thoughts. But yeah, I did play it.
Okay, because I've like I said earlier, that was the game that's burned me out on Sonic games. I mean, that was like the first part. Like, I don't know. Welcome to my life.
That was basically 20 years ago.
Yes, it was 20 years ago. And I think the main problem, like, I don't know, this the weird thing. It's like one of those, like, I don't know if you've ever, like, have, like, a favorite artist, and then that artist, like a music artist or, I don't know, a performance artist, any kind of artist, really, they always have that one project they work on. You're like, was that garbage? Or was that really good? Or was that and you're just sort of like, I don't really know how to feel about that. And that's kind of how I felt about Shadow the Hedgehog. I'm like, this sounds like it should be fun. I mean, the concept sounds fun. I
It's
guess
classic Sega. The concept is sound like we're gonna tell a story that kind of plays in the idea is of either hero or villain and kind of lets you decide, choose your own adventure, if you will.
yeah.
But the idea is that in practice, actually making that a thing, it was an idea that was better on paper than it was in actuality, because the idea of like you got to play this level like 10, you got to go through the game like 10 times to get the actual ending, and even then trying to build the story to that ending doesn't make any sense. So there's been a lot of issues. I know Ian's been asked about it a lot, and he's tired of getting asked about it. So hopefully we'll get some clarification.
Okay, I typed in Google. There is 10 endings.
10
Unlocks
endings.
the game's true ending. So 11 in total. Huh.
Just short of a baker's dozen. Huh.
Okay, because I know I've gotten at least 3 or 4 of these endings already.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I don't know. Maybe some people really love this game, but like, this game is just, it's not fun, and it's like, I don't have fun playing it. It just seems like a chore trying to get through the entire game. I mean, like, it sounds like an interesting concept, an interesting game. But, okay, so, actually, I had something very, I don't know, not poignant, but important to say about this. So, I imagine Sega's probably trying to right all the wrongs they made with this game. They're probably trying to look through it and find all of the mistakes they made through it. Would you say this?
Makes sense.
So this could either really work, or this could either just be just a repeat of what we just saw. I imagine probably because, the game is different. Not the game Shadow the Hedgehog, but the real life game, that I imagine they have rights issues, they have things they can do and things they can't do. I think there's some reason why they can't do classic Shadow. I think there's a reason. Or
Well, there's
that,
there's obviously a reason. If you go by the series canon, in the classic era, Shadow was still frozen.
okay, so they want to respect the story.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
why for Superstars, again, we're talking about Superstars again. They gave classic Sonic a Shadow onesie to
I
hey, you can
remember.
play as Shadow. So that was kind of because technically, by the logic of Sonic Timeline, which that in itself is an oxymoron, Shadow is not available during the classic era because he was frozen in Carbonite, waiting
Okay.
to be freed to enact his revenge.
Because
And
I
the
remember a
death
friend
of
of mine who's
Maria.
like a huge Sonic fan, the one who I would say I would blame for getting me back into this fandom. He was like, "All right, man, I'm gonna get a chibi Shadow. I'm gonna get a classic Shadow." And then they released that onesie of Sonic. And then, like I said, so what do you think of the onesie? His only response is, "This is bullshit, man. This is the reason I bought the game." But anyway. Anyway, so based upon what you're saying, is yes, probably maybe you're probably right. They want to respect the story because they want to keep everything on brand, right? Because it's uh, going back to money. It's probably easier to market something when your audience isn't confused, because anybody who's been in the Sonic fandom, if you haven't gotten confused yet, congratulations. My hats are off to you, because there's so many iterations. There's so many different types of Sonic. There's so many damn things going on. And if people just want to leave, I completely understand. But me, I'm too lost in the sauce to get out at this point. So I wanted to talk a little bit about a game that I played called Oddworld Soulstorm. Do you know of it?
Um, No, I'll be honest. I
Are you
don't.
familiar with the Oddworld series?
I am familiar with that one, like Abe's Legacy. I know Abe, but I knew they also did a bunch of other stuff that I wasn't really aware of.
Okay, I'm a huge Oddworld fan. I love Oddworld. I love that show. I mean, it's like, uh, it was just it hit me at like the perfect age. You know, it's like I was getting off my Sad Am stuff, and it was like it's perfect. I mean, if Sonic ever wanted to go the Oddworld route, man, I would eat that stuff for breakfast. Put that in an IV and put it in my soul and have it being played on repeat forever. I would love the shit out of that. I would watch the shit out of that. I'm just saying, I'd love it. But anyway, Oddworld is a show for anyone who doesn't know what Oddworld is. It's pretty much like it's a dark concept about I guess you would say aliens. I'm not sure aliens, but like just these creatures that live in kind of very harsh conditions. But it has a real sense of humor to it. Like, a lot like Sad Am, where like you had a lot of like comic relief, like with Antoine or Dulcie. Um, but pretty much anyway, they made a new game that came out a couple of years ago called Oddworld Soulstorm, which was a reimagining of one of their older games, Abe's Exodus. And I gotta say, man, I like Exodus way better. I don't like the new one. And it's like they took out everything that made Exodus fun and they added in some new stuff based upon like what was in the zeitgeist. Like, oh, you like crafting? We got to put more crafting in it. Oh, you like what else did they put in this damn thing? Did you like cutscenes? We'll put more cutscenes in it. Did you like did you like scripted events? Where like you have like I don't know. I mean, not even trying to describe some of it, but it's pretty much. It sounds like I'm really hoping that this Shadow thing. I know this is like maybe this is like a sin talking about something that hasn't even come out yet. It's like people like dunking on the Joker trailer or any trailer really. That's like saying, "Oh, this movie's for incels," right? But it wasn't for incels. It was just some story about some was it Arthur Fleck or whatever his name is, and it wasn't like people got the wrong idea. I'm just saying. I know maybe I'm speaking a little bit prematurely, but this is what worries me. I'm worried that like they're remaking it based upon what they think people want to see, but it's not really what we want per se.
Okay.
Because it's just like what I was saying last episode. Go in with low expectations. If you go in with too high expectations, you're gonna be disappointed.
Okay.
I'm talking about me. Talking about me. I'm not talking about you. Everyone out there, our listeners. I'm sure you all have great perspectives, and you're all awesome. And I hope you, whatever it is you're doing, driving, walking the dog, washing dishes. I hope you're having a fantastic day.
Always keep that glass half full. That's what I always say. But okay, so let's fast forward a bit. So the Sonic fandom in the last few months has been a little antsy. Now most of it is coming from Paramount.
Yeah.
A little bit. You know, whether you like the Knuckles show or not, that got some people that's got some people in a frenzy, both good and bad. And then
I got something to say about that, but go on.
But then, obviously a lot of fans are waiting for the first trailer for Sonic 3. Now, a lot of people were hoping we'd get one today for Summer Games Fest, because today was Summer Games Fest. It's also the reason why we're doing this podcast today. But alas, it didn't come. I think most people kind of realized that Paramount and Sega are very two different levels of companies, and their products are also two very different products. Now, yes, the movies are based on a video game property, but they're aiming for a very much larger audience. So look forward. I would imagine we'll probably get a trailer next month at San Diego Comic-Con when you have Pop Culture Mecca and they can jam-pack Hall H, dim the lights, show the trailer, and say, here's Keanu Reeves as Shadow, and then the crowd goes wild and everyone loves them, and so on and so forth. But while we didn't get any movie news, we did get the latest trailer for Sonic X Shadow Generations, though a lot of it actually had been leaked yesterday, Thursday the 6th, and we're going to go over a little bit of what was actually leaked and what were some of those initial thoughts. So first off was the leak date. It's going to come out October 25th. So aiming for October. Interesting choice.
Halloween.
Halloween, basically. Though they also got leaked was that if you pre-order, you are going to get a Sonic Adventure skin for Sonic, which people are pretty excited about. And then you got some interesting things. I believe it was leaked that the price was going to be like $49.99, so $50 game. We also got some screen caps, and there was one in particular that has kind of grasped the fandom by the quills.
Yes.
And that is basically it's an amazing shot. It's Shadow with the full moon behind him, but he's manifested these black and red blade wings. And naturally the fandom has just gone insane. Sephiroth pics of Shadow are all the rage. But what's really interesting is the fact that if you're a Marvel Comics fan, particularly if you're a Venom fan, Venom's kind of in a weird place as a character where he's kind of become a cosmic deity. And a lot of the stories that led up to that, The King in Black, brought these Venoms, like these symbiote space dragons to Earth. And Venom developed wings. Like, he's got these dragon wings now that he can just pop out and fly around. So, to see Shadow pop them out means Sega might be hearing from Mr. Venom's lawyers, and if there's one lawyer team you don't want to piss off, it's Disney's. So, good luck with that. But even more cooler than the wings is this is the thing that's going to be exclusive to physical purchases and physical orders. So if you got an Xbox, you got a PlayStation, you got a chance to get this. It's a 25-page journal written by Professor Gerald Robotnik about his creation of Shadow and the Ark. And the 2 pages they show, one is about the Ark, and the other shows Angel Island and the Master Emerald Shrine. So if we go back to Sonic Adventure 2, we're playing the end of Cannon's Core, and as we're sliding in, suddenly it goes from a typical space station themed to suddenly now we're in like ancient Echidna ruins. And eventually, we fight the Biolizard at a replica of the Master Emerald Shrine. How did that get there? They kind of went a little bit into it in Sonic Battle, but that lore, kind of with the Gizoids, kind of got messed up a bit. So this has also led to a lot of fan theories that Gerald must have, at one point in his life, traveled to Angel Island and maybe, just maybe, came across the famous mural in the Hidden Palace zone of Eggman and Sonic. And maybe that was the decision that made him decide to build Shadow. Because again, the Biolizard was the prototype. The final product was a hedgehog. How do you go from A to B? And so I'm assuming our good friend Ian the Flynn is writing this. So I know all the lore YouTubers are going to be all over this like white on rice. There's some lore bombs that are going to come out that, maybe some long-lasting fan theories will be confirmed. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see what happens. What do you think of that?
What do I think about all this stuff going on?
What do you think?
Well, here's the interesting thing. When I saw the Shadow thing with wings, right? I just thought, okay, cool. I'm not too much. I mean, I guess I was a Shadow fan at one point, but I think the Shadow the Hedgehog game broke me. But one thing I did not know was I did not know about the Venom connection. Was that the first thing you thought of when you saw it?
Yes, that was the first thing. I'm like, oh, he's got Venom wings. Oh, this is going to be hilarious. And there's naturally been fan art. Someone drew Shadow's Venom telling, "You'll be hearing from our lawyer."
So I had an idea for like the main picture, or what is it, the
Hmm.
thumbnail for this episode. I was
Okay.
thinking like maybe we should like take a picture of those Venom wings and like have like a put like a shadow sticker on top of it with like put tape on it, like scotch tape, right? Maybe that would be like the front picture. What do you think?
That'd be pretty good.
All right.
I'd be
All
down for
right, we're
that.
doing it. We're gonna print
We're
it.
doing it.
It's
We're
done.
gonna print
All
it.
right.
It's done. The memes.
So wait, how long? So you're saying Venom's only had wings for the last 5 years? Is that what you're saying?
Um, Let me do a quick Google search.
Okay, because I'm not too, I don't know, what is it? Like, I had a Venom movie with, like, Tom Hardy, but I heard too many bad things about it, so I didn't go see it. But then they made a sequel of
It's
that bad movie, and I don't know how
There's
that
the
one.
third one's coming out in October, so
Well, somebody's watching. Oh, Jesus, it's like fucking Sonic the Hedgehog.
I know.
They just keep making stuff for some reason.
I think I actually
is like-
enjoy the films.
Okay, you enjoy them. All right.
Yeah.
It's just like what is it? Now Hollywood's making like what do they call those? The legacy sequels, where like
Yeah.
they're just sequels based upon the legacy of what people already know. But okay. I mean, I don't know. I'm still sitting in the theater saying, "Where's Sally Acorn? Where is this character? I like this character from back a long time ago. I'm gonna sit in this chair until the credits are over, and I'm still gonna sit here until I get like I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna keep writing on Twitter, and I'm gonna keep pushing until I see my chipmunk. You know, I don't know, or something.
Yeah, it looks
or
like
something
Venom got
Sadam-esque. Yeah, go on.
There you go. So it looks like Venom got his wings in like 2019, 2020. So,
Oh,
it's
so not too long ago.
yeah, so again, this has been a very recent.
So, would you say this is like a what's that? Is this like a supersonic thing where it's hint hint not Super Saiyan?
Maybe I think one of the things, if you go to the Sonic X Generations website, they talk about how Shadow's going to discover new powers to help him defeat Black Doom, and I guess let me go pull that up
Is
right
Sega's defense gonna be this time like, nah, dog, public domain, dog? Is that gonna be their defense? I mean, if you think about it, right? You think about like you think about like Disney movies, right? Like Peter Pan or I don't know, Beauty and the Beast,
now.
or
Okay, here we are. Shadow evolved.
yes,
Harness Shadow's new Doom powers to battle hordes of enemies and tackle platforming challenges like never before. Surf on water, fly over obstacles, and stop time with the return of chaos control. So yeah, this is on the the game's website. So yeah, it's kind of neat. But so yeah, so those are the stuff that was leaked out yesterday. Kind of got people excited.
wait,
And
that's a
then we
leak. I
actually-
thought that was actually like presented by them.
It wasn't presented till today.
Oh, okay.
All this
Alright.
stuff that I've mentioned came out on the day prior.
Mhm.
So, June 6th. So, we had the presentation today. It was this afternoon, mere hours ago at the time of this recording. They put out a minute and a half trailer. Some interesting things of note. They showed clips of a level based on Rail Canyon / Bullet Station
Yeah, that
from
looks
Sonic
cool.
Heroes,
I like that one.
which kind of surprised me because it's like
Because fuck
Shadow
that
didn't
level.
really have
That's all I'm
not
gonna
the
say.
worst level in the game.
I don't like
but-
that one. It's cool
But it
looking.
was
I
one
like
of-
the way it looks, mind you.
Yeah, it's aesthetically pleasing. A lot of rails. If you don't like rails, then it's kind of what you're gonna do. But again, Shadow's presence in Sonic 06. I mean, not Sonic 06, Sonic Heroes. He's got a little thing, but it's not a big game where he is the focus. He's a part of the ensemble, and he's got a little bit stuff, with is he a clone, blah blah blah. But Rail Canyon being a level significant to him is very minimal.
How do you make that game fun? Is a question I'd like to ask.
Yeah, some people do love it. I
Oh,
think
I
it's
know.
okay.
It's just sort of like I want to be able to say I had fun playing this. That's all. It's fine if you enjoy it. I mean, I can't really dunk on anyone for liking something, unless it's illegal, of course. But personally, I don't find that game fun, man. I just want to have a good time.
You like a hug, Radri? Do you
No, I
like a
don't need a
virtual
hug.
hug?
I am Mr. Hug. I'm fine. It's just sort of like I don't know. I guess maybe I sound like I'm very angry, but I mean this is just my default mode, you know. So I mean I'm perfectly fine over here.
Okay,
I,
that's
I
good.
was I was saying something before you brought up that information. You know, what is it? Because I want to complete this thought. I was talking about like properties like what is it, Peter Pan, Beauty and the
Yep.
Beast, made by
Public
Disney,
domain.
the public domain
Yeah.
stuff, right? I mean, isn't it a
Mhm.
little funny that like Disney goes like it goes hard in terms of like being litigious and like going after people, even like you know ants like us, right? When it's
Mhm.
like their original property is something that was in the public domain, you know. So to me, it's just sort of like maybe this is like a what is it? A King Kong or Universal Pictures versus Nintendo, where like was it Universal was trying to go hard on Nintendo for using Donkey Kong, but they ended up losing because Universal didn't actually own King Kong because the concept was public domain. I think I could be wrong about this, but I
The Kong
imagine
naming rights are kind of, yeah,
I
they're
imagine
kind of an interesting thing.
Yes, yes. Anybody who's any historians out there, please feel free to fill in the blanks for me. Um, I'm not. I am human. I do make mistakes. So what I'm saying is that I think Sega's fine. They can probably, their defense will always be public domain. It's like he just has wings. What's wrong with having wings? And I imagine maybe you're like what you're saying. Marvel will be like, I don't think it's just a coincidence, my friend. So I don't know.
I mean, Shadow's always been kind of the Venom to Sonic Spider-Man,
Has
so
he? Well, I guess all right. If you want to call Sonic Spider-Man, but
they quip a lot.
that's true. That's true. Well, I don't know. I don't really see Shadow as Venom, but
The lethal protector, Shadow does his own thing. I mean, we could go into this. It's definitely a thing.
okay.
He's part alien. Venom's an alien. So, yeah.
I mean, technically,
Long story
isn't
short,
Sonic an alien?
in the movies,
Oh, it's just the movies.
in the
Eh?
games, it is what it is. So, we've got some more interesting things that came out and released. Also,
Yes.
another level that was shown was Kingdom Valley from Sonic 06. So, meaning Shadow is getting a Sonic 06 level, which is a lot of people excited, and we'll get to that in a moment. But also, we learned that if you played Sonic Generations, it kind of has a hub world but it's very linear. It's basically set into three sections. You just kind of walk, and it's got the different levels that you can kind of go in, as well as the side missions. Well, Sega is taking that to a new level. They're incorporating a lot of the technology from or the design plans from Sonic Frontiers to create a new one. And they have a picture of it up on their website. It says, explore the new white space. Stretch your legs in an all-new hub world inspired by the open zone gameplay of Sonic Frontiers. As Shadow gains new powers, he can explore further and uncover the secrets hidden throughout. So it's kind of people say it kind of looks like a little bit like Soliana, with looks like water and ruins and kingly stuff. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes through. But we also got some interesting information regarding. We talked a little bit again about this earlier, the physical versus digital release. Now, this is where people have gotten a little upset, and I feel their upsetness is completely justified. So if you order a digital, you get a variety of factors. And let me pull that up right now. So if you get the deluxe digital edition, because why wouldn't you? You get the full game. You get the legacy skin for Modern Sonic, the Sonic Adventure skin. You get to play the game 3 days early, so on October 22nd, woo, you get the Terios skin. So you actually get a skin for Shadow based on his original concept art of Terios the Hedgehog, who looks like basically a gray Sonic with a scar.
Huh. That's
Looks kind of
actually
cool.
pretty smart, letting people play before other people play. I would say that's
Yeah.
smart. But anyway, go on.
You also get an extra BGM pack, a digital art book and soundtrack. You get skill points to use in the generations part of it. And you get an additional level in skin for Shadow releasing in holiday of 2024. So even this is going to have DLC content by the end of the year. So you're going to gain another level. Now what that level is, I don't know. It is what it is. Now of course if you get the standard digital, it's basically the game and the Sonic Adventure skin. But if you get the physical launch edition, you get the book. So you kind of have, different things. But then it gets one step further, where if you order the digital version on PlayStation, you get exclusive prologue animations that Xbox and Steam doesn't get.
Fuck you. Okay.
I know. They're gatekeeping content across, companies. So,
God
damn it, Sega. Why couldn't you just keep making systems instead of being like this? Why are you the way you are?
God damn it. I'm just picturing, like, what's that one GIF file of, like, Patrick, where, like, he's rubbing his hands together and going like this. That's all I'm seeing is, like, what is it? Who's the current CEO of Sega right now? Just doing that the entire time.
Money. Well, and then it gets crazier because these are all the goodies that the American consumers are getting. The consumers in Japan, they have a whole nother key art. They get goodies like there's like these little keychains of Sonic and Shadow's shoes. They have like a Shadow bust, a little bust you put on your wall. And everyone's like, how come they're getting all the cool stuff and we're getting all the mess stuff? So it's really crazy. My whole thing, I think the reasoning is that Sega has been obviously trying to push Sonic as a brand in Japan for a few years now. Radri, obviously you live in Japan. Do the Japanese people care about Sonic at all? Be honest with us. The answer's no, isn't it?
Well, I mean, I think I don't know if I've said in this podcast before. It's like if I talk to a lot of people here in Japan, particularly Japanese people, and a lot of them are still surprised to learn that Sonic the Hedgehog is Japanese. So, I don't know how you sell. I mean, to me, I guess if you're trying to sell it, but I don't know. Sonic has this weird sort of. It's going to be kind of hard to sell because, like, if you try to sell it too hard as an American product, because that's one way you could really sell it to, like, get the attention of people in Japan. Sonic
really is biracial if we're being honest.
Oh,
he's this weird blend of American and Japanese concepts that lightning in a bottle has somehow survived for 30 years.
well, only dorks like me would know this, stuff like well, I know he's a Japanese character and like I know that he's part of this. I mean, like, okay, so I know probably a lot of people out there already know this, but like here's the thing. It's like I'm not trying to talk down to anybody. I gotta lead in with this. But you do get a lot of people. I still have people today who tell me like really factual errors about Sonic the Hedgehog in the U.S. who I've talked to. Like they particularly get facts wrong. Like they tell me things about like Ken Penders, which is just wrong. Things about Sally Acorn that's just wrong. Because I just talked to somebody recently and they're like, oh yeah, she has that new update look. She has the IDW look. I'm like, no, that's her reboot look. And I don't want to correct anybody. It's like anybody who's like, when you're you correct someone's grammar, it's just like it's kind of a bad look. I mean, okay, I wouldn't say it's a bad look. It's nice to correct people. It's nice to have corrections.
It can be perceived with the wrong intention.
Exactly. Yes. And so I don't know. I don't really know how they're going to sell it here. Because it's just sort of like you can't. I mean, they can sort of lean in on the whole. Oh, this is something from America, but at the same time, it kind of erases a lot of what makes him Japanese, you know. And so then it gives the impression of like, oh, well, this is an American product, right? But like, no, 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 this is homegrown in Japan. I mean, like people know that what Sega is. They know it's a Japanese product or a Japanese company, but they're not gonna like divulge in the history like some people like us, right? So it's kind of a hard thing to sell here, I'd say. So I imagine probably, I mean, I was telling you earlier, Malzilla, I was telling you earlier that is this Sega trying to say like I was saying, like the early the '90s movie Bean, based on Mr. Bean. Is this like Sega trying to say, hey, we're bumping everybody up the first class in Japan, so you can go look at the American dorks over there and just like wave your first class ticket, go nee 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 nee, right, and just like look down at all of them and say, I have the greatest Sonic merch out of everyone. And maybe they want to do that because they want people to like share it on Twitter. They say like, well, we're part of the elite group. We want you to join the elite group. I'm not saying this is the intention. I'm just saying that's the impression I get.
From an economic, I understand you want to expand your markets of a product. And, because the more markets, then the more money you make. It's business 101. But to quote Mean Girls, Sega, stop trying to make Sonic happen in Japan. I mean, you can keep trying, but maybe don't try so hard.
Wait, how's that a Mean Girls reference? You mean the fetch stuff, right?
That's the line. Stop trying to make fetch happen. It's never gonna happen. It's basically this. It's like I don't want to say it's too late for Sonic in Japan, but it kind of feels like it. Like you hear all the stories, like the whole reason Sonic X got a third season was because it was popular in the United States. It's like, on one hand, the Sonic market in the United States has almost become self-sustaining. It will basically feed itself, which, let's be real, is true. We're still going to get this whether we like it or not. But it's nice if you throw some love our way to the people who've been playing the games and buying the merch and the plushies in the comics since the 90s. We'd like a little love too. We'd like a hug. We'd like a hug saying, your childhood is valid. Your childhood is valid.
Sega, help us complete that love, please.
Validate our childhood, yeah. Sega. Validate our childhood.
Yeah.
That's all we ask. That's all
I
we
hope
want.
you're listening to these two ants in a podcast and you say, those two guys, they're great. That guy Radri, he's got such a great personality. He's smart, he's funny, and he's so good looking,
And Malzilla is just so handsome and charming.
Yeah.
He's hypnotic. Mm-hmm. We should give him money. Yes, Sega, give me money.
Continue.
Well, I was going to say, we've kind of complained a little bit. Let's change gears. Let's have a little fun.
Oh, before we do that, I have one more thing to add to this.
Yes.
Why do you say that you think that it's too late for Sonic in Japan?
I say that, and then it's one of those things where it's like, do I actually have any proof to back that up? No, it's just, I've just seen in the last few years they've been trying to push hard and it's just not getting any results. So it's kind of like maybe cut their losses a little bit, but I mean, ultimately it is Sega's Japanese company. Sonic is the mascot. They do some cute stuff over there that I am jealous that the SOJ is making. I actually do like their Sonic little costume suit better than the one that we have over here. So, yeah.
Well, I guess I can kind of add to this. I guess supposedly, yeah, I mean, technically, if they wanted it to be a success here, yes, they just have to keep trying. I mean, or at least the way things that after living here for over 15 years, I can tell you that if a brand wants to survive, they just have to keep pushing until, like, basically somebody notices them. Until Senpai
Witness
finally
me.
notices.
Until Senpai finally notices it. All right. Well, you want to shift gears?
All
You got
right,
anything
yeah,
else to
put
say?
it in the third or fourth
We're gonna
gear.
put it into third. Well, now but before we get in there, we got to put our tinfoil hats on because we're
All
gonna
right,
do
cool.
some theory crafting. And this theory crafting is gonna be for a reason, because one of the questions that has come to my mind ever since they announced this game was, how long is this Shadow campaign? Like, is this, because this ultimately is going to lead into the question is this worth buying solely for this, campaign for people who have already bought in Generations? So, for example, if you remember Sonic Forces, Sega released a free episode of Shadow DLC. It was 3 levels. It was free. They're pretty meh. It's where we basically learned the whole reason Infinite became Infinite is because Shadow called him weak and kicked his ass. That was it. Yeah. It was done. It was free. Can't really complain about free things, but you get what you pay for, and since we didn't pay for anything, you get nothing, I guess. So the theory that I have is that realistically, if we look at it, Generations in its normal original form is 18 levels, 9 modern, 9 classic. You have 4 boss fights and 3 rival clashes. So, altogether, you got about 25 encounters, plus the little side missions you can do. So you got content. I'm thinking, and I'm interested to hear if you think I'm crazy or if you think this is right. I'm expecting Shadow's campaign to be about roughly 1/3 to 1/2 the size of Sonic Generations campaign. So here's my logic.
Yeah, I think that checks out. But go on.
Because here's the thing. Sonic Generations, when it came out, was celebrating every main Sonic game. So there were 9 at the time.
Uh-huh.
From what we've been told is that Shadow's campaign to stop Black Doom again, because somehow Black Doom has returned, is it going on at the same time as Sonic doing his thing before he fights the Time Eater. So these events are happening simultaneously. So if we're going from that point in the story, Shadow's only been in 4 mainline games: SA2, Heroes, Shadow 05, and Sonic 06. 4 games. If you pull 2 levels from each games, that's 8. And that's roughly half. A third would be 6th. Right now we know 4. There's a 5th one coming in the holidays, so 6 to 9 seems to be kind of right around the corner. We know we're going to be fighting the Biolizard. They've pretty much confirmed we'll be fighting Black Doom again, so that's 2 bosses. It would be super simple, and this would be a total Sega thing to do, is to just do the Sonic Shadow rival fight from Generations, but this time you're playing Shadow fighting Sonic as opposed to Sonic fighting Shadow. It's basically done. You just have to flip it. You got all the assets for it. I could totally see them doing it. But this is where things get interesting. So we're going to start a hashtag, and I want you guys in the comments to decide, are we doing hashtag manifest Mephiles or hashtag manifesting Mephiles? Because Kingdom Valley was the level Shadow did before Mephiles came into being. And if we're going into Sonic 06 levels, if Shadow's going through his past, his main antagonist in Sonic 06 was Mephiles, Mephiles, Memphis, Tennessee to some. The edgiest of edgelords. Sorry, Infinite. But arguably also one of the best villains in the Sonic history of, he is the darkness incarnate. Eggman's, the number one villain, but sometimes you need a bigger threat, and Mephiles was that. And he was also really funny. Dan Green did an amazing job voicing him and just being completely hamming and completely evil. He also killed Sonic, which, he deserves a medal for killing the guy. So a lot of fans are hoping, because the fact that we are doing Sonic 06, the fact that there is time shenanigans involved. Ian Flynn on the Bumblecast has kind of gone on note a couple occasions that he had some theories that perhaps the Time Eater is a remnant of Mephiles or Solaris, because they too had time powers to destroy reality. It's kind of what Time Eater's doing. So, maybe we get a boss fight or a rival clash with Mephiles, and maybe Mephiles survives this and comes back and is a bad guy again. So we're manifesting, hashtag manifest or manifesting Mephiles. Let's make it a thing. Let's bring back the Alpha Gamer.
So that's why you want to. This is what you want to name the title.
Yeah. Hashtag manifest or manifesting. Do
something shorter. Manifest.
Manifest Mephiles.
Wait,
we rallied for.
Yeah, we rallied for Salad. Continue.
We rallied for Salad. We were hard for Shard. Our dicks out for Sticks. And now we're manifesting
Still like dicks
Mephiles.
out for Sticks. That's like the best thing I've heard all day. Best thing I've heard all week so far. Okay.
So yeah, let's bring back Mephiles. What do you think? Like, are there levels that you would like to see? Like, how long do you think this campaign would realistically be?
The Shadow campaign?
Yeah.
Well, first off, let me ask you. You said there's 2 hashtags, you said? Manifest Mephiles, and what was the other one?
Manifesting.
Oh, let's just keep it at Manifest Mephiles. Let's make it simple.
Manifest, hashtag
Drop
manifest
the
Mephiles.
in Facebook, please. Anyway, if anybody gets that reference. 5 stars, please. All around.
5 stars.
5 stars, I don't know. Thumbs up. Push the buttons, do the things. Anyway, okay, so you asked me if how long I think this campaign is going to go. That's your question?
Yes.
I think they're going to go for it as long as they see it being successful. If it's a success, they're going to keep going with it.
Well, okay, let me rephrase it. In the game, how many levels do you think the campaign will be?
I see. I see what you're saying. I think they're really just kind of testing the waters. I think they're gonna do something. I don't know what it is. I can't really predict it. But they're gonna do. If I guess you really like this Mephiles. I have not played Sonic 06, so I don't know anything about it. All I know is that Sonic kisses a woman. What?
Just watch it on YouTube.
I'm not watching on YouTube. I'm gonna play it for myself.
Cuba Bridge.
I want. No. Here's the thing. All right, call me stubborn. Call me whatever you want. But I want to play the game through my experience. This is kind of one of the things, like, I kind of hate watching, like, reviews of movies or seeing trailers, because it kind of, like, it shapes my opinion of the media to where it's like, God damn it, now I'm just echoing what they're saying. And I'm only thinking about what they're thinking. Like, I want to have my own opinion. You know what I mean? So this kind of stuff drives me crazy. This is just a me thing. I know I should probably divulge. I should understand what this 06 stuff so I can have conversations. I get it. But this is just the thing. This is just a me thing. Anyway, continue. So I'm going to ask you questions because we live in a day and age when, like, spoilers are rampant. Avoiding spoilers is a chore. And it's like, I don't know. It's like if you want to...
For me, spoilers are my crack cocaine. So it's like,
all right.
I live for them. So.
Okay. Well, yeah, to me, it's sort of like, avoiding spoilers is like you have to put effort into avoiding them. So especially if, like, if you love your Twitters, you love your Sonic media, you're, like, just trying to avoid them as next to impossible. So let me ask you this. Mephiles, right? You're a big Mephiles fan, correct?
I would say so, yes.
And your prediction is that we're not going to get very much Mephiles and we're not going to get very much Shadow in this.
Well, I think my prediction is that, like, from what Sega has done, I just don't see this being as long as the Sonic campaign, because they pulled one level from 9 video games for Sonic, and they give him a modern version and a classic version. Well, A, there's no classic Shadow, and B, there's only 4 games to pull from at this time. So.
That's true.
So there's, like, the pool is less. Like, for Sonic Adventure, Shadow only had 4 levels. He had
Right.
Radical Highway, the Daylight Pumpkin Hill where he was on the rails. He had White Jungle, and then he had Final Chase on the Ark. And then he fought the Biolizard, and then they did the Final Hazard. They lived and they learned, and then he fell to Earth. They brought him back in Heroes, so technically he's done all the Heroes levels. For the most part, I'm not a fan of them, those levels. So it's like, as long as they'll do what they want. And obviously, they're doing at least the Rail Canyon Bullet Station. Shadow '05, there are certain things that I imagine they'll do. Obviously, it looks like they're going to do Westopolis,
Yeah.
which
cool.
which again, that's, PTSD for some of us because just all the campaigns for Shadow start in Westopolis, and it's
Westopolis
quick.
would be fine if it wasn't the fucking first level you go through in the goddamn game. But yes.
Yeah. But I also imagine since Black Doom is unless they decide to pull a like haha, it was actually Mephiles all along.
Yeah.
If they kind of stick with that, obviously, they've been saying that, Black Doom is the big bad for Shadows campaign. Then we're probably gonna do the Black Comet again, Final Haunt.
Mm-hmm.
So I imagine that's 2 levels from Shadow 05,
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that they're gonna do Kingdom Valley from Sonic 06. So yeah, it's like I think another one if they do like I would have liked Dusty Desert from 06 because there's not a whole lot of desert levels in Sonic. There's
like
a couple.
Mirage Saloon.
Yeah, like really like Sandopolis was like the big one. And then Mirage Saloon was actually my favorite level in Mania. So I think just for the sake
that
of
level got cut in Sonic 2, that is. But anyway.
Yeah.
But then again, they had a lot of levels in Sonic 2.
Wood Zone, never forget.
Yeah, I guess it looked a little bit too much like Knothole, I guess, for some people.
Exactly.
Anyway, okay, so you're basically saying I'm
trying to be realistic. It's
no, okay, that sounds
just based
fair.
on like the lack of things they have to pull from, the fact that the Sonic campaign is short enough as it is, and the odds of it being the same length are probably super nil. So you're probably, the 1/3 to the halfway point is kind of, I think, this kind of what it's going to be.
Right.
Which ultimately leads me into the next thought because, I would like, 5 to 6 levels. I mean, I think 9 would be cool. I'd like to do a fight between Shadow and Silver just so I could kick him in the face again. Because apparently that was a top Shadow moment, according to, Sega, was him roundhouse kicking Silver in 06.
Okay.
That was one of his top 10 moments, according to, Sonic Twitter.
Okay.
But I think really kind of what I'm getting with all of this is that if the campaign isn't robust enough, is it worth the price of this game, especially if you already own it?
No, we'll find out. Twitter will let us know.
Twitter will let us know because again, you can buy Generations by itself for $20 on Steam, and this is going to be about 50-ish, give or take, when it comes out in the fall in October. So, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe, I mean, the fact that they're putting in this hub world like Frontiers, and half of the hub world is just, messing around. Maybe they'll find ways to actually, beef up this campaign. Who knows? Maybe it will match the length of the Sonic campaign. Maybe, we'll get a couple of fights. Maybe we'll fight Mephiles. Maybe we'll fight we know we're going to fight Black Doom and Biolizard. Right. Maybe we'll get a fight with Mephiles. Maybe we'll get some clashes with Shadow and Silver. Maybe we'll fight Metal Sonic, Neo Metal Sonic from Heroes. Who knows? But yeah, that's kind of all my thoughts on it. Do you have any thoughts?
No. So you sound kind of very cynical about this. Can I say that?
I wouldn't say I'm cynical. My optimism is being cautious at the moment.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Because I'm really curious because I think you could tell a really fun story if, and just looking at some of the images, they look great. They look fun. And like again, some of these new abilities like the Venom wings, and there's another cool picture of, Shadow chucking a Chaos Spear. It's like they're giving him stuff to do to make this story viable. So it's kind of like, it's like you got my attention. Let me see what you got. And do you have enough, is it going to be enough? Because again, this is a game a lot of people have already played for generations, unless you haven't played it like you. So yeah, it's kind of one of those things where, I'm optimistic. I'm cautiously optimistic because I'll be honest, my faith in Sega is not the firmest.
You're not alone.
And I know I'm not alone in that thought. But at the same time, it's like, I've liked what I've seen. You had my attention, now you have my curiosity, or you had my curiosity, now you have my attention. But now let's see how this thing goes. Obviously, we'll probably get a Sonic Central in the next couple weeks for the birthday, as Sega is always to do. They might show a little bit more. Gamescom is in August, and that's always a big gaming convention where, Sega always shows some stuff. So we might see a little bit more and then. Honest, we might see more tomorrow, not to plug other channels because, well, yes, because we're kind. Old Games Cage on Twitter announced that he's actually going to be playing some of the Shadow campaign tomorrow with, due to Summer Games Fest. So there might be more information that we get in the next, weekend and the next couple of months, ultimately before it releases in October. So,
I guess, I don't know, maybe you can relate to this, but I guess the only thing I sort of want from Sega is, Sega, make me say the words, stop. I can only get so hard.
Okay, Dr. Krieger.
That's all I want to say, I just want to be able to be able to say that at some point. But so far, no. It's like, you got me going soft here, man. Come on. What are you doing? What is this?
Well,
all right. Okay. So yeah, hashtag established meth. Manifest meth. No, that we shouldn't say meth. Meth.
Manifest Mephilis.
Yeah, meth. We should probably put the full name. Otherwise, meth sounds like methamphetamine. No. Yes.
Breaking
okay.
Sonic.
Establish. Bringing back meth.
Manifest.
Hashtag
meth. Manifest Mephilis.
Ooh, it's hard on the tongue. Okay. Manifest Mephilis. Yeah, that's pretty good. All right. Yeah, we'll run with that hashtag. I'll do the Twitters and the thingies. Yeah. What is it? Was there anything in the agenda? Anything else we had planned?
That was pretty much the end. Anything you want to add? I think we've been talking for an hour and a half now.
Something like that. Yeah, I think we've pretty much said everything we wanted to say, unless there was something I said or you said that you want to elaborate more on.
I think we pretty much set our pieces. So okay. We'll wrap things up here. And again, we want to thank you all for dedicating 90 plus minutes to us jabbering about random Sonic stuff.
Yes.
We hope we were entertaining you while you were playing your video games or on your daily commute. That's what we hope to do.
I hope we just made it a little bit better.
We made it a little bit better. We hope we made you laugh.
If there's something that made you very angry or something you want to argue with us about, you can join our Discord. We just opened one. You can have fun in there. We need to establish some rules, though.
It's on the to-do list. Leave a comment if you're watching this on YouTube or listening to this on YouTube. Leave a comment. Tell us what you like. Tell us something you'd like to see us do more of. What we could do to be better. Challenge us. I'm ready to rise to the occasion. But yeah, again, follow us on Twitter. Sonic Coasts Coast to Coast.
C2C.
We have C2, yeah, CTC, SHC2C. We also are on Tumblr, because we got to be part of the Hell site. So check us out. Again, Sonic Hosts Coast to Coast. We'll be posting links, YouTube links of the episodes there, as well as memes and whatnot. And so, again, thank you for sticking around. We've gotten some great feedback. We've talked to some people who've really enjoyed it. And if you thought we were entertaining, share it with your friends. Have a conversation.
Yeah. Tell your mom. Tell your mom about the great podcast you listen to, and be like, "Mom, I love listening to podcasts." Do 5 push-ups. Tell your mom she's very beautiful. She's a beautiful lady. Yeah. What else can I say? We have to figure out a way to end this, Miles. How do we end this?
Well, we say this. We could take a line from a fellow Sonic tuber, but that would be, that would just be rude. So I will say, y'all have a way past cool week, and we'll see you next time.